everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make this convertible hanging basket. This is really great. So you can use it, obviously, as I'm doing, over a towel bar. It has a little button that you wrap around, or you can, and it does fold down as a foldable brim. You can also fold the brim back up and use the loop to hang it from a hook as well. These are really great to give you options. It's a good size to hold things. These are my face claws that I've made. They're actually hand knit. And yeah, I think this is really great. Now this is actually the second in a 3-part set that I've made. And I'll show you what those look like at the very end. You can find the written pattern on my website, as well as the downloadable written pattern on Ravelry. Again, there will be links. I will let you know that the downloadable version is, there is a small fee for that, but as always, the written pattern just for this one alone is free on my website. But if you want a nice downloadable version for the whole set, you can check out Ravelry for that. To make this hanging basket, you're going to need the following. The first thing you're going to need is your hook. This is a size J or 6mm hook. These hooks do not have the letters on them, but it is a J hook. You'll need a tapestry needle, a pair of scissors. Optional is a tape measure in case you want to check that your stitch gauge is the same as mine. And then you'll need a button just to secure the convertible loop in the back. Just make sure the eye of your needle goes through there. If it doesn't, you'll end up having to use a sewing needle and maybe some thread. And then you're going to need your yarn. This is Bernat Maker Home Decor, or Home Dec, I guess, in the aqua colorway. It is 72% cotton, 28% nylon, and it's that yarn that it's kind of like t-shirt yarn. It's very soft, but if you look, t-shirt yarn is usually in strips that just kind of curl up on their own. This is actually a tube that is just, if you look really closely, you can tell, like you can see it's got a knit texture on it. So if you want to use something else, that's fine. Just keep in mind this is listed as 5 bulky, and it does call on the label for an L or 8mm hook. Obviously we're using something a little bit smaller than that, but just keep that in mind if you want to substitute. All right, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we need to do is go ahead and make a slip knot. So I will just wrap the yarn like so. Take my hook, go over this bar, grab this bar and pull it through, and then we're going to pull it tight. Okay. And now we are going to chain 16. Alright, so now we have chained 16. And then for row 1, we are going to basically do half double crochets pretty much across. We're going to end up with 15. So in the second chain from the hook, we will do a half double crochet. So not this one, but this one here. This guy right here. So yarn over, insert your hook. I usually will insert it either under just this bar or this bar in the back bar. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever feels most comfortable to you. Okay, so let me do that again here. So we yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and you should have 3 loops there. Yarn over and pull through all 3, and that makes a half double crochet. And we're just going to go ahead and do this all the way across until we have 15. And I'll go ahead and just speed this up. So again, it will curl. All right, again, so we're yarning over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. And it is getting, I'm sorry about the curling on it, it's just something that it wants to do. Basically, we're just making the base of this. So if you want a larger or smaller basket, adjust this, the chain number and the row count as well. But you'll adjust the chain count first if you want it to be smaller. All right. And then we chain 1 and turn. Okay, so for row 2, we are going to just do half double crochets all the way across. So there'll be 15 stitches on that row as well, or this row as well. So, and we're not counting the chain up, the step up chain, we're not counting those as stitches. So you will work into this first stitch here. So we just yarn over, insert our hook through both V's, or both parts of the V. Then we yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. And then we're just going to go ahead and do this all the way across. And then we will be doing the same thing for a total of 8 rows. So I will go ahead and do that off camera just so that way you don't have to see me do all of these. But if you are a little unsure of something, it's great about the video, go ahead and just go back a little bit and you can rewatch me do a step, okay? But I will come back when I have 8 rows completed. I just finished up row 8, and this is what we have. If you want a bigger, this is the base of your basket. So your basket is going to be approximately this big. It's going to be just slightly bigger, but for the most part, this determines the size of your basket. If you want a different shape or something like that, go ahead and switch it up now. If you would want a more square one, of course, do more rows. But I like the shape of this one for this basket. So now what we need to do is make sure that we have a nice edge to pick up from, because we're going to be working in the round after this. So you can see like this edge, of course, is nice and it'll be fine. We have 15 stitches on this side. You should have 15 stitches on the other long side as well. And then on each side, you should have 11 stitches. As long as you're doing the slip stitches evenly, if you get a slightly different number than I did, that's fine. Obviously, if you're doing more rows or anything, you will get a different number. But just go ahead and work it out. Now, I did do the slip stitch on this last row, so, or the chain 1 on this last row. So now we just need to go ahead and just slip stitch around. As for the placements of the slip stitch, obviously like there would be a good place for it, but that's kind of far in. So I just go in and just wherever it'll go, just do try to grab 2 rows. So you see how you can see there's like 2 right there. I'm going to go under that and do a slip stitch. Slip stitch. And so a slip stitch, if you don't know, I just showed you, but I'll show you again. Basically, you just insert your hook, yarn over, and then you pull it through the one that was on your hook as well. So we're just going to keep going around until you have until you're back at this point here. I'll go ahead and just finish it up, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. And then I will give you a little warning. When you get to these little sections right here at the end of it's every other row, it almost feels like there's a knot there, and so you just kind of have to work around it. If you have to, just go into sort of the top of it. It's fine. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up, and I will be right back. All right, here we go. I did slip stitch all the way around, so you can see now, on the other long side, it looks nice and even. Usually on the where you're working onto the side, it does not look as nice. It does a little wavy, but that's okay. And if it's bowing a little bit, you can see mine is. that's absolutely fine. These baskets stretch, you know, quite a bit. So it's actually not a bad thing because if you put too much stuff in your basket, or not too much stuff, but you put some stuff in your basket, it is going to kind of stretch it out just a little bit. So that's what we want. All right, now to go ahead and finish it up, we're just going to do a slip stitch into the first slip stitch. And of course it's going to give me problems, but there we go. And go ahead and just slip stitch to finish it off. You're going to chain 1 and turn. So now we're going to be going from working flat to working in the round. So there should be 52 stitches around, and so this first round is going to have 52 stitches around. Now, so basically we just do that by working half double crochets into each stitch that each slip stitch that we made. And then of course the finished edge from the row that we were on. So to do that, we're going to just yarn over, and then we're only going to be working through the front loops. So we've got, see how there's the V here? So we're going to be working into this one. Not the back loop, the front loop. So if it were, it's a little hard to tell because on the short sides it faces away from you, but let's just do it from this. For example, when we get over here, we're going to be working on into this front loop here, not the back loop, the front loop. Okay, so just the front one. On the short sides where it is going to face away from you, you will most likely have to turn it like that to make sure that you are working into the right stitch. It's absolutely fine. So to do that, I'll show you here. I'm going to do it from the side. I normally would not do it like this, but we're just working into that. Okay, so again, yarn over, insert just into the front loop only, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3. I'm going to go ahead and just do that all the way around, and I will come back to show you just what that looks like before we continue on to the main part of the body of this basket, okay? Okay, back real quick because I think I misspoke when I was telling you before, when I was showing you on this side. This side actually does, if you look there, you see the V here, and then this extra stitch. It's just the way that the slip stitches were worked into the to the starting chain. This is that back loop of the starting chain. So we will be, of course, working into the front loop of these V's. And I just wanted to clarify that for you, so that way you, I mean, it's just going to affect the way it looks, but stitch-wise, it would still work out. But so, see, we've got the first stitch there, so we're just working into there. And I apologize about that. I'll put a note in the video when I'm recording and tell you that I was wrong. But I'll go ahead and do that, and then basically we work into this to the front of the V, same for here, and then once we get to here, there is only, you know, the one V there. So I'll go ahead and finish up and show you in just a second. I just completed 15 stitches on this side, and I just wanted to come back and show you. Now you could theoretically, if you wanted to, put one there, but it's not necessary, but you know, if you want to. It does look like one should go there, but it does not. So just to go ahead and close this, we will be, and this was round 1, so to close the round 1, we are just going to slip stitch in the first half double crochet. So we will, and you're going to be doing the slip stitch under both loops. And I would pull that one just a little tighter, just to close that gap there. It works out once it starts to work out. But now we're going to chain 1, and this should be what is facing you. So you basically get the rough edges, except for that right there. But for the most part, we're looking at, it's easier to tell on the short sides. You're looking at not something that looks nice. And the reason we're doing that is because this basket is worked inside out. So this is how we'll continue to go around it. But when we're done, we flip it inside out, and that's what it's going to look like. See those nice smoother edges? That's the reason that we do, that we worked into that one side just by itself. So go ahead and flip that back. wrong side out. And we're just gonna do half double crochets around for and well, basically for the next 13 rows. So from we're getting ready to start round 2, and we're going to do that up until round 14. And it's just the same, it's just going to be the same stitch over and over again. And the first stitch we work into is the same one that we slip stitch into. So we're just going to yarn over, insert there, yarn over, there we go. Okay. And we just keep doing that all the way around. I will go ahead and show you how to join the round when we're done. I'll go ahead and do this one real quick and then come back and show you how to finish up this round and go from there. So I just reached the end of round 2, and I wanted to show you this just because if you are not careful, you could easily add a stitch. If you look here, it looks like maybe I should do another stitch right there, right? Don't. That's actually the base of your previous, like from where we did the slip stitch and chained up. So don't do that there. You could, I guess, but don't worry about that. We're just gonna, if you want to, just go ahead and count just to make sure, but I have counted. And what we're gonna do just to close up the round is just slip stitch into the first half double crochet that we did. So we'll yarn over, it's this one right here. We're going to go through both of these loops here and work it out right there. There we go. And then just yarn over, pull through, and then pull through the loop on your hook. And then we're going to chain 1 and do a half double crochet into this same stitch that we did the slip stitch in. And then just continue around. So we're just going to do the same thing for through round 14. This is the start of round 3. So the first round was working into the slip stitches, and then the second round was the one we just did, and then 3 through 14 will be all of the same. So basically it's just chain 1, work evenly all the way around. So 1 half double crochet into each stitch, 52 stitches for each round, and then you join with a slip stitch and just keep going until you've done through row 14. If you want to, you can of course make the basket, you know, shorter or higher, whatever you want to do. I will be back to show you the next step of the pattern as soon as I get done going ahead and doing this, so that way you don't have to watch me do that on camera. So I just finished up round 14, and now we're going to start round 15. It's almost exactly the same as round 14. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to chain 1 and then half double crochet into each stitch, with 52 stitches being, you know, what you should have. And I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what to do, okay, at the very end, because the end is what's different on this round. I just completed the last stitch of the 15th round, and then I'm just going to join with a slip stitch as we have been doing before. And then we're going to chain 1 and turn. Now before we've been working, you know, obviously continuously in the round, not turning. This is actually where we're starting to make the brim, and since I wanted the brim to have the same texture as it's going to have on the rest of it, we have to do this. So now for round 16, we are going to just half double crochet in each stitch and then join with a slip stitch. We're going to do the same thing. So obviously we've already done your chain 1 here. So for round 15, or excuse me, round 16, we're just going to do half double crochets. Round 17 through 20, we'll chain 1, half double crochet in each stitch, join with a slip stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do round 16 through 20 right now, and I will come back and show you how to finish everything off and do the handle and everything. I just did the last stitch on the 20th round, and you can see, since I'm still looking at it inside out or from the middle currently, you see like that's the last ridge, and then you should have 5 rounds after that, just to keep that in mind. To finish this off, we just go ahead and do a slip stitch into the first half double crochet and then bind off. And you can go ahead and weave in the ends if you want. I'm just going to wait and do that at the end. Now we're going to go ahead and do the handle to make it convertible. What you're going to want to do is go ahead and count up to the 11th row from the base. So this is your base, this part down here. So from this little ridge, just count up 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So here's the seam here, and make sure you do have the side with the seam facing you so you can see it like that. So there is the 11th row, and I'm just going to put that right there through that just so I can keep track of it. I don't want to keep counting it for you. And then just make sure that it is evenly, like your base is even. So if you've laid it out flat, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to pick the middle. So I think from this, probably this one, the one right next to it, is going to be the best place to join it in the middle. So basically you just need to join in the middle of the 11th round. So depending on your gauge and everything, it may be slightly different for you. So we need to join the yarn. So what we need to do first is just to make a slip knot. So just wrap the yarn like that over your fingers. Take your hook, go over and grab this one on the left, pull it up, and then we tighten. And then we're just going to join it under, which I'm going to do the first stitch from the seam. So I'm going to count again. Okay, so this is the 11th row. Basically we just need it in the middle somewhere, and about a couple of inches from where the fold over will be. So if you want to just kind of eyeball it, you don't have to be precise. So we're just going to go under this stitch here. So I just inserted my hook under the stitch, and if you looked on the inside, it looks like that. Okay, so then we're just going to yarn over on our hook again and pull it through, and then just pull through the one on your hook already. There you go, and then just pull that tight. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and just chain. We're just going to make the loop. I recommend chaining 40, but depending on your chain size, you may need to adjust that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back and show you how to join it to make the loop. So I've done 40 chain stitches, and what you want it to do, I'm going to show it, put it from the side. So when I bring it back down to where I joined it, I have about that much left over. So that would be a good hanging amount, and it has some stretch in it. Okay, so what we're going to do is just join it back to the same stitch that we joined the yarn with to begin with. So I'm just going to bring it back under. You do kind of have to move that out of the way a little bit. Pull through, and then just pull through the one on my hook, and that did not work. Okay, let's try that again. So we just join here. Why is that so tight? There we go. Okay. So there we have that. And if you want to, you could do another slip stitch, it's fine. Go ahead though and bind off and pull through. And you're going to want to leave about 8 or so inches to obviously to weave in the ends, but also to sew the buttonhole on as well. So just go ahead and cut that. So now we have our basket, and technically it is a hanging basket at this point. You could hang it up, but we do want it to be convertible. So to do that, go ahead and just turn it inside out. And I apologize that there we go. Okay, and then just fold over the brim. I like to make this ridge here. That's where the top line will be. But really it's wherever you want it to be. Okay, and we could hang it. See, there's hanging. You could hang it there. But since we're making it convertible so that way it'll go over a bar as well, what we have to do is sew the button on. So that way this has something to go around. So where you have your little space here, you're going to take your button and sew it on there. Now this button does have 4 holes where the some of yours might have 2, and that's fine, just whatever you need. But I'm actually going to sew it right over the same place that I wove in the ends there. So I'm basically just going to take the longer end of the yarn that we had left over, thread my needle, and then bring it back through. And actually, I'm going to make sure that's tight there. And before I do that, I'm going to just go down below that stitch just to grab onto the bottom of that right there. I think I keep splitting the yarn. There we go. Okay. And then just bring it up just to sort of tighten or strengthen that just a little bit. You could do that when you weave in the ends too. It's whatever you want to do. And then pull it tight. And I'm going to stick the needle through that space and come up. And then we're going to sew that button on. Now you can go crossways or side to sides, whatever you feel like. I usually go crossways on these kinds of buttons. And then just take it back through the other space. So I came up out of this space, go through this space, pull it through, okay, and go. Actually, it looks like I went to the space next to it. All right, so you can do that. You can go to the space next to it if you want to. I'm just going to go back over to where I need it to be, and then wrap the needle around that same stitch where we've been doing all of our work, and bring it up through one of the holes we've not used yet. And it's being very tight. There we go. Pull it tight. Go back in there and put your needle through. Make sure you're putting it through a space. This this yarn tends to, if you try to put a needle through it, it'll go into the yarn, but it won't, you won't be able to really pull it through very easily. So now that's on pretty tight. I could go through once again, but I feel pretty secure with that. So then I'm just going to go ahead and just weave in the ends, and I'm going to knot this just for a little bit of added security. Let me pull that tight. I'm going to go through the top right there just to catch it a little bit, and then knot it with the other end, just so those are good and tight. And then I'm going to go ahead and just weave in my ends. I'm going to weave these ends in as well as the other. So I'll go ahead and get that done, and then I'll show you what it all looks like all finished up. And here's your convertible hanging basket, in action. I went ahead and added some, just some hand knit face cloths that I use in here. And there you go. You can see from the side, it's hanging up from the button. It's pretty sturdy. These are lightweight, but I mean, I can pull on it and it doesn't go anywhere. And I really just like it. And then if you want to see it converted, I probably should show you that. Give me just a second and I'll convert it. Okay, here it is hung up. Well, I'm using an S hook still. I don't actually have hooks in this bathroom. So, yeah, it's really nice. You can see it from the side here. Yeah, so this makes it really extra deep when you hang it this way. And, you actually could maybe still hang it, maybe not. I was gonna say maybe you could still hang it over the rod with it this way, but if you made that deeper, you would be able to. So I really do like it. These washcloths are really good size, so it's a nice depth to have, and yeah, as an option. So yeah, now I mentioned before that this is part of a set. I'll go ahead and talk about that now. I just wanted to give you a little look at what they look like all grouped together if you wanted to make the whole set. Yeah, I really like them. They're great for keeping items that you normally would have out, but you don't want just sort of laying around. I've obviously got some face cloths. These are some hand knit ones that I made. Wiping, cleansing cloths, eye makeup remover, things like that. And then some brushes and combs, just things that I do need every day, but I don't want just to have laying there. And also I think these look a lot nicer grouped together like this. Everything looks nice and clean and tidy. Obviously I'm using not the aqua one for this middle one, but that's just my personal preference for this particular bathroom. But yeah, you can, change it up. You can make them in the same color, whatever you want to do. But I just wanted to go ahead and show those to you. If you are interested in getting the pattern as a set, not just the individual patterns, please go ahead and check out my Ravelry page. There will be links in the description bar as well as on the website if you're looking at my website. So, as always, you can find the individual patterns for free on my website, but they're not downloadable, they're not PDF, and I did go ahead and put a PDF version up on Ravelry. So, and there's a small charge just for the extra work on that. But I hope that you guys really like these. I absolutely adore them. These are perfect. I had this towel bar that I never used. I didn't have anything on it, and these are absolutely perfect for this space. So I hope that these work for you. Please let me know what you use them for, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.